All right, y'all. It's about time that we talk about the 49ers. It's been about a week since that crazy, horrible NFC Championship. And I think I have finally mustered up enough strength to finally talk about it because it was just a sad game. It was a sad game because it was over when Brock Purdy went out with an injury. It was 100% over. So let's just talk about this game a little bit so we can talk about all the other things that have gone on this week in Niner Nation. That game started off Eagles driving down the field, going for it on 3rd and 4th down and getting and converting, and that Devonta Smith catch. That wasn't a catch. That's issue number one for me because it's double-sided. For one, Kyle, you have to throw either the red flag or just call a timeout. Period. That's game awareness right there of, why are the Eagles hurrying up right there? There's really no reason to call hurry up offense other than the admission of guilt. Two, the NFL had all the camera angles. Didn't even show it on TV until after the commercial break. And you're just like, they got to get that whole replay system figured out. If you have all the angles and you're in the NFC Championship and you can do something about the atrocity that just happened on the field, fix it. Why isn't there a replay guy in the stadium with the controller, just like in the XFL, looking at all the angles and just making sure that the calls are correct? Why is that such a outlandish thought? Just do it. Just get the calls right. That's all we want. But when it comes to penalties and calls here, it was a lopsided game, and the refs really puffed their chest in this game and made their presence known, which shouldn't be a thing in NFC Championship. Like, did you not watch the 49ers in the Seahawks game? That game was chippy. There was potential penalties all around, but the refs for the most part swallowed their whistle. When there's two physical team, they might not even like each other, there's certain things you just gotta let happen. Just let them play. And they weren't letting the 49ers play. This was the same ref crew that ref that very controversial New York Giants and Washington Commanders game just a few weeks back. If you remember how that game ended at the end, this crew got rewarded with the NFC Championship. What the heck is that? You could tell early on that the Eagles were going to get away with a lot of things, like the Lane Johnson continual false start. It was absurd, and then it kept happening. Just watching the game begrudgingly because Brock Purdy was out, and I'm like, I know we're going to lose this game, but I need to watch it because I've watched every snap of 49er football from memory of my entire life, and then I need to talk about it with y'all. I could just tell. And as a coach and as a former player, you could just tell sometimes when the refs just, for whatever reason, are a little one-sided. It's kind of ridiculous. You're pumped when it's one-sided for you, but you just don't understand when it's one-sided against you. And that's what happened. If you watch the game, you could feel that. You could realize that a little bit. And you're just like, you kind of let it slip and go out of your mind because what can you do? What's it going to even matter? But I'm just like, call it the same way on one side that you're going to call it on the other. That's all I'm asking you to do. So the refs puffing out their chests, ridiculous. It happened in the AFC Championship game too, all throughout it. Not just that call at the end, all throughout it. And I'm just like, get out of the game, refs. You are not the spotlight. You are not. Got so much I could say about that, but nevertheless, things just kept happening. Like the roughing the kicker penalty where our guy's rushing hard. What was that, Jordan Mason? He's rushing hard, but the guy blocking him literally turned his hips and led him into the punter. There's nothing he could have done about that. I keep referencing the 49ers-Seahawks game. That literally happened in the 49ers-Seahawks game, and the refs didn't call a thing. It happened to us. There was no penalty at all. That's why I'm just saying, let the boys play. Let them play. Don't make a big call that's going to change everything. Would that call in that 49ers-Eagles games, would that have changed the outcome? Probably not. But the fact that you even called it, and then you can look at it on replay, and you can look at it and tell that bro was blocked into him. Just like, you can pick it up. Why don't they do that? That extended a drive, and they ended up scoring. That was the name of the game for the Eagles on Sunday. Extended drives from penalties, some warranted for sure, most were not. Taking advantage of short field after turnovers. Josh Johnson fumbling the ball off his head, off his hands. Oh, that was so frustrating. And then you look at the time of possession, and I'm like, well, no duh. That was time of possession like crazily the Eagles, because Brock Purdy was out. Josh Johnson is completely inept. Why is he even on our team? We don't have a quarterback. We can't even complete a first down. Of course the time of possession is going to be ridiculous. Of course our defense is going to be on the field most of the game. But when you look at those stats, for the amount of time the Eagles had the ball compared to us, the Eagles had 148 rushing yards on 44 attempts. They also had the ball 15 more minutes than us because we couldn't complete a first down. In fact, they got 25 first downs. We only had 11. They went for it and got it all 3 times on third down. Talk about the Eagles. Should have been 2 of 3. They were 5 of 15 on third down. Just couldn't get off the field. But when your defense has been out there defending them for 37 minutes, man, eventually you're going to break down and wear down, and those third down conversions are just going to be given to that other team for sure. Still though, Eagles only ran for 3.4 yards a carry. We still got a good defense. That's lost in all of this. The Eagles only ran for 3.4 yards a carry. Do you know what we ran? When the Eagles knew we were going to run and they could just stack the box. Put 11 in the box, bro. You know we're going to run it. We're just trying. You might as well just kneel the ball because got to get the game out of here. We got to go home. We still ran for 3.4 yards a carry. We didn't know what they were going to do. They were still running their offense, and we were stopping it. They ran for 3.4 yards a carry, and so did we. That says something to me. For one, it says our defense is who it is. We just couldn't get off the field because of penalties and turnovers that really can't do much about when you don't have a quarterback. One bright spot, Christian McCaffrey made that amazing run, breaking tackles, juking people, jumping over. I mean, CMC is the dude. He's the guy. Eagles, as a whole, though, only averaged 3.8 yards total per play. That's passing and running. We averaged 3.6, and we were completely one-dimensional after the first drive. Jalen Hurts didn't impress me. He was 15 of 25 passing the ball. Whoop-de freaking do. For 121. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Should have had 1 pick. Didn't happen. It's okay. That's extremely pedestrian number. Nobody had over 50 rushing yards for the Eagles. They had a collective effort totaling 148 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. All of those were because of the non-catch penalties and short-fielded. They never just drove down the field the complete way and were just like, hey, we're going to punch this in here because we're a better team than you. And we'll never know the true outcome of all this game. I'm just like looking at these stats and just remembering this, and it's just frustrating. I mean, McCaffrey had 15 carries for 84 yards and a touchdown. And they knew he was going to run the ball. And then 4 catches for 22 yards. McCaffrey had more yards than any one Eagles player outside of Jalen Hurts. Kind of crazy. Before Brock went down, he was 4 for 4 for 23 yards. Josh Johnson was 7 of 13 for 74 yards. Took a couple sacks. He just looked inept. He had that Jimmy Garoppolo, like, deer in headlights energy. Couldn't deal with it. We might have been able to pull off a closer game with him in there, but he wasn't going to win us no ball games, folks. Our defense was going to have to score, and Debo was going to have to take the ball, and Christian McCaffrey is going to have to be Superman. Like, there was just no way. There's no way. And I'll give the devil their due. That's one of the things you are trying to do on defense. You're trying to cut the head off that snake or the dragon, whatever kind of picture you're envisioning here, but knocking a quarterback out of the game, making it so the other team can't play their best players because you hit them the way that you hit them and as hard as you hit them. It's part of football. It is what it is, and it sucks. It sucks for us as 49er fans because there's nothing we can do about that. And this whole year, this whole team, that whole game, it's a whole thing of like, we'll never know. I choose to believe that we could have won that game with Brock Purdy, but we'll never know. And it doesn't even matter at this point. I choose to believe we would have won that game with Brock Purdy. Not even could have, would have. And we'd be talking about the Super Bowl right now. But that's not our scenario, sadly. Then again, looking ahead at the Super Bowl, I don't know what's going to happen. If the Eagles come to play like that, they're going to get blown out. Now, are the Chiefs' defense, like, is it as good as our defense is? No, it's not at all. But it's still good. Chiefs do have a pretty good defense. Let's not overlook that. If the Chiefs' defense come to play, and Patty Mahomes and all their options do their thing, I think the Chiefs could and should win by 2 scores. So whatever that spread is, Chiefs should cover it. I don't really care what happens in the Super Bowl. If they could tie, I'd be all for it. And I must say, the Eagles' pass rush is impressive, but I wasn't worried about it if we had Brock Purdy. And I know somebody could be like, well, the Eagles' pass rush is the thing that knocked them out of the game. They didn't block their best pass rusher. If you look at that play, Brandon Ayuk was wide open. We might have scored a touchdown on that play. He was so open. At least it's going to at least be a big chunk. Big chunk. And that's why they call football a game of inches. Because all Brock needed was a split second more to follow through. He was here and he got hit and the elbow got bent back. Torn UCL. He only needed to get here. Like, that's it. That's all he needed to do. Get from here to here. Pass would have been completed, assuming Ayuk catches it. Man, and we'll never know. Moving right along. We're done talking about the NFC Championship. Brock Purdy's elbow's done. And obviously he's getting a bunch of different opinions on it because he could get multiple types of surgeries. He could just heal it naturally. Nevertheless, it looks like the timetable for his healing and recuperation is 6 months. So 6 months, man, that's a 6-month leg up for Trey Lance because Jimmy's gone, thankfully. Trey Lance is here, and they say his ankle will be fully healed and he'll be ready to go in a few weeks. So basically a week or two after the Super Bowl, he'll be throwing. He'll be throwing with Ayuk and Debo and Kittle and Juan Jennings, Ray McLeod, Danny Gray. He'll be throwing with these guys. Trey Lance is going to be throwing with his receivers all off season long. Brock Purdy will show up May, June, July and start throwing with them? Y'all, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Developing that chemistry, that's huge. Last year, Trey couldn't develop that chemistry with Debo because, all the contract stuff. But he was developing it with the other receivers, and we'll never know what could have been with this season because of that crazy injury. I mean, they really didn't get to see it in Chicago. I was there for that game because of the crazy monsoon. So what does Trey Lance bring to the table throwing the ball? We just don't know. On a consistent basis, we don't know. But you could see the flashes, and you could see the potential and the upside there. We're going to find out this season because if I have anything to say about it, you would dare to think that he's going to be the starter going into the season. Brock Purdy ain't going to be throwing for the better half of the year. I guess we'll see once preseason starts happening and people are getting reps. It's probably going to be a battle. I'm assuming they're going to go with Trey. They gave up all that money and all that, they gave up all that pick, all that stock for this guy. And now Brock's coming back from an injury like that, from his elbow. Man, all I know is we have 2 starters on our roster. 2 starters. That's not a horrible problem to have. I can't foresee them bringing in anybody that's going to even think that it's going to be their job moving forward. Maybe they draft another 7th round rookie. Maybe they sign somebody like a Joe Flacco. I don't know. But one of those 2 guys will be our starting quarterback, and I'm going to assume it's going to be Trey Lance. I guess we'll reconvene when all that goes down. DeMeco Ryans is now the head coach of the Houston Texans. Congrats. DeMeco is a fantastic coach, a better man, and a fearless leader, and I think he's going to take the Texans to that next level. You could already see the Texans had that grit, had that fight in them this past year, and they were in games they shouldn't have been in. They won a couple games they shouldn't have won, and they, to the fourth quarter, to the bitter end, they were giving teams a day. And I'm like, who's even on the Texans? They just don't want to go down. I think DeMeco will take them over that edge. Good coaching, flip-flops teams that find ways to lose games at the end and makes it so they find ways to win. Now, also backing that, good players sprinkled in that mix. Speaking of which, we have a bunch of free agents, and I think a couple of them, at least one, is going to be heading over there to the Texans side of life because they like their guy. One of which, who deserves to get paid, Jimmy Ward. Jimmy Ward was told by our coaches, hey, we want you here, but we want you to be nickel. Jimmy doesn't want to be a nickel. He wants to be safety. I think DeMeco will go make him a safety, and I think they'll pay him some money. I love Jimmy Ward. In the beginning, I really didn't know what to think of him, and I thought he was just kind of average, honestly. But as time went on, I was like, Jimmy's one heck of a leader, one heck of an underrated, underappreciated player. He's so good. So good. So if we can find a way to keep him, man, please. I'm not expecting them to keep him. Alshire, another one who deserves to go get paid, who people have been saying stuff on social media like Fred Warner, even himself, like he's going to go get paid. He wants to be that guy. He wants his shot, that opportunity. He referred to the 49ers as like playing in college, like he did his 4 years, and now he's going to go off and do his thing. I think he can go get paid some big bucks right now and go get his opportunity to go play linebacker for somebody. Maybe he goes down to the Dolphins. There's a lot of teams that could use and would use a really good middle linebacker, budding prospect kind of guy. You see how the Jaguars put together their team, a bunch of guys with like smaller names, they need to prove themselves kind of deal. That is Alshire to me, and I feel like he's going to go prove himself and go overachieve and go rock the heck out like he should and would and will. So we'll probably draft a linebacker. Robbie Gould's a free agent. Go pay that man. Go. I don't care what he wants. You pay that man. Jimmy Garoppolo, he's gone. Emmanuel Mosley, that's an interesting thing. I could see them letting him walk because Lenore came on at the end of the year, and I'm like, okay, Lenore, That might be your spot right there. Jimmy played slot, and I would love to keep Jimmy like we just said, but we drafted Samuel Womack, and Samuel Womack early on in the year looked like he could fill in that role, but as a rookie, you kind of drop off as the year goes on, and there's things you got to learn, and you got to get conditioned, right? Everybody can't be a Nick Bosa. Everybody can't be a Sauce Gardner. Everybody can't be that. Sometimes you show all these flashes in the beginning of the year, and then you kind of trail off at the end of the year, and you got to get back to the drawing board and figure out how to be a pro. Drake Jackson had the same experience this year. And you got to figure it out because we see the vast potential in you. So come back stronger next year. We never saw that potential in people like Solomon Thomas. But Samuel Womack, Drake Jackson, woo, happy to have you here. So now they're going to go off and have an amazing offseason, get better, and go get your starting position. That's why people like Sansom, I become probably gone. It should be Nick Bosa and Drake Jackson moving forward. Unless he wants to come back for a reduced rate, prove it deal kind of deal. I'm down for that. Just don't overpay for him. And don't overpay for Emmanuel Mosley. We have Denominator Lenore. We have Samuel Womack. We can draft a guy. We still have Aubrey Thomas on the roster. And then what are we going to do about Jason Verrett? A 1-year prove it deal again? Maybe. Because he just keeps getting hurt? I don't know. But I can see them letting Emmanuel Mosley go or signing him on like an incentive-laden deal. Like, prove it. Like, your knee's good, then show us. Bet on yourself kind of contract. Charles Omenihu is a free agent. I could see them bringing him back. He only made $700,000 this year. If he wants to make the same amount of money, come on back. I'm fine with it. Let's get your legal troubles out of the way. Come on home. The Mike McGlinchey being a free agent, as is from the center on over on that right side of the line, like him, Brunskill, Brendel. Brunskill and Brendel, they can go somewhere. We can draft somebody. Don't want them. I really don't. Unless they just want to come back for cheap. We got to think about something better than them, for sure. Especially Brendel. We need a better center. I don't know what the other centers are that are going to be free agents. Got to get a better center than Brendel. Please. I think our guards will both be fine because Buford will step in and be that right guard because we got Aaron Banks and Buford, and I think they're going to be our guards of the future, and we're going to be just standing. But that center, oof. And then right tackle, McGlinchey's a good run blocker, but he can't defend me in passing situations. Not to down myself, but for real though, he just isn't the greatest pass blocker. So if we could get somebody different, cool, man. Don't overpay for McGlinchey because at the end of the day, we got to pay Nick Bosa. And if Azeez is going somewhere else, we got to get another linebacker. So I'm assuming we're going to draft one, which that's fine too. We still got Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner, and only 2 of them can really be on the field at the same time. So draft a pretty good little rookie, bring him up in our ways. That's fine by me. We'll have a whole nother video talking about free agents when the time comes, but there's a few little pieces there that's going to make the Niners look a little bit different, and there's spots where I think that we can actually end up looking a little bit better moving forward, depending on how those pieces of the puzzle shape up. The Niners are 16th overall with potential cap space, so it's not like we're top of the league, but it's not like we're in the bottom either. We're literally dead center, and then the cap is expanding a little bit, so I think we're going to be just fine. Besides that, Aaron Rodgers said Niners is not an option that's happening, basically. So that's fine. We don't got to think about all that speculation. No Aaron Rodgers to the Bay. Tom Brady retired. No Tom Brady to the Bay. I know this wasn't the end of the year that we wanted. We wanted to be talking about the Super Bowl at this point, and we know, trust, and believe that we have a team that's capable of doing that. But moving forward, we still have a squad, y'all. We have all the options for scoring and creativity on offense and on defense. We might be losing a couple guys, but we have good, really quality young guys that can fill in those spots. And I don't know who we're going to actually hire as our new defensive coordinator, whether we're going to promote our defensive lineman coach or if we're going to get that interim coach over there from Carolina. Whatever happens, though, we're going to be fine. As long as we can stay healthy, it's going to be a good year. We play the AFC North next year, so Ohio boy like me gets to see them in Cleveland and in Pittsburgh. It's hard living over in this area. The crazy Browns fans. God, we got to beat the Browns. Anyways, y'all, as major things happen, we'll talk about it all off season. I've got this 49ers ball rolling here on YouTube, and it ain't stopping. Thank you for watching this very long video. Sometimes you just got to talk it out. But I appreciate you. But make sure you have a good day. Like and subscribe. Until the next one. Peace.